Hey everyone, just a quick note before we dive in. We want to apologize for the audio quality on this episode. We had a few technical issues during recording, and while we've done our best to clean it up, it's not quite up to our usual standard. Thanks for bearing with us, and we really appreciate your understanding. We've taken steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. Now on to the episode.
Well, there you have it, episode 155. The way we're going to do this, ladies and gents, is we've got a new person, if you can't tell. We've got tour manager Al, a.k.a. Mind Moto, a.k.a. Al. And he's here. So Ethan will still be live producing. We, of course, still have our co-host that isn't fully white, Dave Drakes, and that's okay. He'll still be here.
Shouldn't matter.
And
shouldn't matter.
We're going to see this episode 155. We're going to see how this rolls. I think it's going to be quite good. Now, if we could eliminate the gosh darn echo in my ear of me listening to myself talk, that would certainly help this episode.
Are you in an auditorium?
What do you think is the solution to it?
Maybe step.
Can you guys hear my echo too, or is it just me?
I'm okay.
It's gone.
It's gone now. So
I think it might have been me. I'm just going to mute my mic when I'm not talking. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Sorry about that.
So you guys were hearing that echo too? Because that was
slightly.
It's back. It's definitely Ethan's mic. That's interesting. Okay. Well, that's good. Found the source of that problem quickly. Thanks, Ethan. Yeah, and I think this will be good. Good feedback from the last episode. I think we actually did a good job. I feel of adding another person can be tricky because you don't want to talk too little. You don't want to talk too much. And I think we've all got a good grip of what that looks like. This episode, we're going to talk about dirt bikes a little bit. We're going to talk about super motocross for 15 seconds. We're going to talk about some classes that we've got coming up. And I'll start there. HLR Motorsport, it's doing it again. So I'm not sure what to do. It's gone now. Interesting. So it's just something on your end, Ethan?
Yeah, I don't know. My mic's picking it up for some reason. My headphones are like super low, so I'm not sure how it's happening, but I'll mute when I'm not talking. So
so do you think it's coming through your headphones to the mic somehow?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know why, but
wow.
I'm just gonna mute. I'll just mute. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay. I'm going to HLR. I'm going to Missouri for 2 days. Ethan was going to go, but he's not anymore because he's actually now going, I believe, the next week. So Missouri, shout out. Can't wait to see you guys. VIPs sold out. We do have spots left if you want to sign up for that one. HLR Motorsports, super cool track, like really rutted, really nice dirt, really technical layout, which is fun. Then we've got Macosta MX with Coach Mitchell in Michigan. Then we got Airway Heights in Washington with Coach Mitchell. Then we've got Area 51 in New York with Coach Ty. And then
let's go.
Yeah, we've got some good heavy hitters coming up. Then we've got East Fork,
which is 51's a good track.
I've never been.
Are you? That's close to home.
Yeah, AJ, you would actually really like that track.
You'd love that place.
Really big, just really big whip jumps. Like,
yes. Yep.
Oh,
probably
really?
one of the bigger tracks in New York for like.
That's
big
why
jumps,
I'm shocked. Yeah, that's a AJ Cat track all day.
Oh, and what'd you say, Al? Owner's pretty cool?
Chris, the owner there, he's such a cool guy. So that one day I'll fly out there and I'll ride that class, definitely.
Cool. So I'm pumped. New locations are always fun, especially in a track like that I've heard of forever and just haven't been to. And Area 51 is one of those. It's kind of like Tomahawk. For the longest time, Tomahawk was very much on my radar, but I had never gone because it was too far. And then it became my home track. And I rode it for 7 years straight. After Area 51 in New York, we go to East Fork in Ohio, which is Aaron Plessinger's dad's track. Very, very cool. And we just locked in Jeff Walker. Shout out Jeff Walker. So he'll be there with us second year in a row. When he did it last time, it was a blast. It sold out. He did a great job teaching. We did a mini podcast, which was really fun. So we'll plan to do that again. So if you guys have any ideas for the mini podcast, definitely let me hear it. But go sign up for that one. That's don't know when. September 24th.
Yeah. Jeff's a cool guy. He's pumped as well. He is pumped for it.
Yeah, he's great. Now he's very hard to get in touch with sometimes, but this one worked out well. It was like last minute, hey, do you want to go? Yes, I can. Awesome. Then we're going to Sweeney Ranch in Colorado, Moto 101 in the UK, Fratton in the UK. Those have got to be nearly sold out. And then we've got Fast Farms in Tennessee with Cade, which is epic. So we've got some cool stuff coming up in the month of September. We've got a lot of classes in September, the most we've ever had, probably. Absolutely stacked. Completely stacked. Also, Also, our prices have just recently changed for the 5-day camps, which means that we're ending all of the early bird specials now on the same date. And that will happen at some point in October. I don't know exactly when just yet, but do not wait. If you want to sign up for those classes, the 5-dayers, sign up now, sign up in that first week of October. Do not wait any longer than that because you'll be paying hundreds of dollars more for the same exact thing. Lock your spot in now. Those 5-day camps are epic.
They are so much fun, dude. We got some other announcements too, AJ. I don't know if you know this, but we got a pretty badass trip giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Yeah. That's happening as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening as we speak. Yes, and actually, have I talked on the podcast yet about the trail ride I did a couple days ago? Probably not.
No. We're supposed to because like was it on the new bike?
No, it was on the Stark.
Okay,
but this was basically like a preliminary trail sweep of okay, let's figure out when the trip winner flies in where I'm going to take them on this ride because what I don't want to do. And this would be a guarantee, knowing me, is go out and get lost. You know, guarantee.
It would be a good look.
So you don't pre-plan.
Like AJ getting like life starred out, hugging a like patrolman with the. Like,
oh my
hey,
god!
Man, I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen Tom Segura did a video reacting to it where this old woman, I think she was like 70 or 80 years old, gets rescued and it just starts spinning the stretcher absolutely wide open? That would be me. Just get stranded out in the Connecticut State Forest for a week because I can't find my way out.
Me,
trip giveaway winner.
Me and my mate Max, we honestly still laugh about that video. I know we shouldn't because it's not funny for her, but man, that properly gets me.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's not funny at all, but it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And it couldn't have gone any faster. Like that was like max velocity, and she was just getting whipped, dude.
It was brutal.
Yeah. Oh, the worst carnival ride of all time.
Oh my god! So we're trying to avoid that, for the trip giveaway. So what I did is Massive, who is one of Travis Pastrana's friends. He lived in Travis's house and was basically like the caretaker of the property for, 10 years at Travis's house in Maryland. We met him when we went to shoot the Straight Rhythm video. He moved into my town. And it turns out he is actually from my town, and I just never knew that. Moved back and built a track right by like a brewery, which is a really cool track.
Oh, wow.
Bought 2 Starks and knows the trails like the absolute back of his hand. So he texts me, he goes, hey, do you want to go out for a ride? I'd show you around the trails a little bit. Sure. So I finally got the charger back from Salt Lake City for my Stark. So plugged it in, got the thing charged up. And he shows up to my house in an Army Humvee, like an actual Army Humvee with the Stark on the back.
Okay.
He bought it from an Army auction and like fully rebuilt it. The thing was sick with the Stark on the back and just like drives right up onto my front lawn with it. Allie was just like, what is happening?
She was furious. Allie was furious.
And Millie was pumped. And then he took me on he was the best guide. It was an hour ride. I told him, I'm like, listen, I have an hour. He took me on a ride that lasted exactly 1 hour. And it went right from my garage, up the road, into the state forest, and then it was a perfect loop. Wasn't too difficult, wasn't too easy to where I was bored. He went the perfect pace to where I was just loving it, but not having to like hang on for dear life trying to follow him. He never roosted me. Like, it was the perfect. He stopped at one point and had a water for me. I'm like, this is like a 5-star experience. So I asked if he could be our guide for when the trip giveaway comes, and he agreed. So we'll have Massive to help guide us through the trails. But it was kind of my idea of, okay, if we've got somebody with us, like where can we take them for an hour to explore? That's going to be fun, have a mix of different types of riding, and also just not be too much for somebody to try and take in.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect loop. So that trip giveaway, all you have to do is be in the app, and we're going to pick a winner live inside of the app in a live stream October 7th.
Nice.
Any of the subscription tiers will get you entered, and you can win from anywhere in the world, by the way. So we've had winners from everywhere. I mean, at this point, we've had winners from a whole bunch of different countries. Yeah. So don't feel like you can't win because you live God knows where. Everyone's entered. October 7th. Get in there. Thanks, Dave, for teeing
Awesome.
that up. Wonderful.
Gotcha.
Absolutely
buddy.
wonderful.
Gotcha.
We're going to do podcast questions. Maybe we're going to do some coaching wanted, potentially. We're going to react to some Instagram clips, video clips in this pod as well. Is that true? Okay. Well, first things first, let's talk about SMX for 12 seconds before we move on. Did you guys watch the race?
Did EQ and I were chatting a little bit prior to this, and I don't know if you guys get the feel. Al, let me know if you feel differently. AJ, EQ, let me know if you guys feel differently. The SMX rounds don't feel as cool as like the other off-season races that we've had in the past. I'm thinking ones like Monster Cup. I'm thinking like US Open. I'm thinking even when I tune into like a Bercy or something like that. It doesn't have that same, I don't know, excitement, like pre-season sort of, or end of season excitement around them. I don't feel like I have to rush home to watch it like I would a traditional round of outdoors or a traditional round of Supercross. Like I don't, if I'm completely off my rocker, please let me know, but it just feels different.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I think sometimes it's like it's lost its magic a little bit, right? It's got to have that kind of, like when you say about a Bercy or something like that, it feels like it's outside the norm, right? And I think when things are outside the norm, then they feel like they've got a magic. But I guess I would agree with you on one level that it's kind of lost its magic, but I'll also be really transparent here. I haven't watched any rounds yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that I have, to be honest, because I do agree with that. It's like it's coming right off the back end of the season to where there's been no time. There's 1 week off, so it just feels like the season's just still dragging on.
Yeah.
And then the tracks are just so different that I guess it's cool. Like, I don't know. They look horrible. I mean, the Charlotte one I would not have wanted to race on, I don't think. I mean, it looked like a mud race almost. The ruts were so deep. It was crazy. And then I guess maybe that looked fun. And then this week, where the heck was it? St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah.
It just looked like the easiest Supercross track of all time. It was like let's do a Supercross track and let's take out any obstacle that could be considered difficult, and then we'll race on that track.
Yeah.
Now it did look like once it got rough and rutted, it did look pretty flowy towards the end of the night there. But yeah, probably pretty frustrating for guys like Jet that were trying to come through the pack in that one moto, or like Deegan trying to come through the pack in his moto, because there was just not much to really separate guys at all.
Yeah, and that's one thing I think that, like, I get they took out those Supercrossy features that would kind of deem it like a traditional Supercross, because literally the layout is in the same stadium that we go racing at. It looks like a Supercross track, right? So I think they almost tried to take out a lot of those Supercrossy-esque features. Not saying that it didn't have the same pageantry or like theatricality that most of the other track. There's still pageantry behind it, still a big production, right? Still a big show. Supercross, dirt bikes, we like it. But yeah, I think a lot of those elements that make it like a very technical race, which we do get the differentiation between the different riding levels, which allows for a Jet to do amazing Jet things because he's so badass, and all the other guys, you know, you can steer stuff him how you want to. Yeah, it made it like kind of tough to like watch. It's like, okay, cool, he gets to come through the pack, and it's like, dude, he's still 2 laps to, you know, from where I just left, and he's still behind the dude in 15th, you know, because it's can't pass, you know. So I definitely agree with a lot of that. And like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just miss like the US Open, Monster Cup. Like those felt like true off season, end of season, preseason, mix it all in if how you want to. Those just felt more exciting to me. And like, yeah, I felt like AJ. Like yesterday, I was out running errands. I got the ding that, hey, the race is on. And I was like, I'll watch it later. And that's never me. Like AJ knows that's never me. You know what I mean?
You're all over it normally.
Yeah, yeah. Al, you know, like, yeah, I'm sure you're the same, dude. We're like, we're glued, and like these, I'm like, I'll catch it later. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna miss it, but I just don't have that same, you know, urgency to like sit down and jam through it.
How do you guys think like, obviously from a pro's perspective, AJ, how would you prepare for a race like that, like mentally? If you've got, because obviously you're engaged in if you're in a Supercross season, you're kind of in that Supercross mentality, right? And you're kind of focused on the things that you need to within that kind of genre of racing. How do you feel like they would prepare for a race like that? That's more like, I mean, is it motocross? Is it Supercross? Is it kind of, it's tricky to know, right? Because I know there's certain things about Supercross, for example, that would make me anxious and would make me feel a certain way. And then I think to myself, how would you prepare for that if you're facing like a triple with ruts up the face and all that kind of stuff, right? It's a whole different feel.
Yeah, that's a good question. And Deegan said something last weekend that I loved, and I don't think we talked about that at all yet. He goes, I heard a lot of riders complaining about the track, and I think that's BS. Racers race.
Yeah, right.
Racers race. And I'm going to ride this track. It doesn't matter what it is. And yeah, you have to somehow learn to cultivate that mindset, which is non-judgment maybe to what the track is, and that racers race. That's a good way to look at it. Racers race. You know, I don't care what this obstacle is. I don't care what is on this course and this track. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm going to hit it to the best of my ability and do the best that I possibly can. Now, the tricky part is the mindset is incredibly important, but also another huge key factor is how the heck do you set your bike up? Because when I watch a track like that, part of me would want a really soft setup to flow, but then the stuff is still steep. I mean, even those doubles or the over-under bridge jump, the one rhythm especially that was 3 on, off, 3.
Yes.
Like on a 3 on, you need stiff suspension for sure, big time. And then to get across the tops of tabletops, you need stiff suspension so that way you don't push through and smack into the next one. And then where you really need stiff suspension is coming off of a 3 on off and then trying to triple again. Because there is so much force going into those forks when you land trying to then triple again. And when your suspension, I've experienced this my whole career, even with Supercross setting that wasn't set up right. When you have too soft of a setting there, you're going to deflect. You're going to go 3 on. That might feel okay. You'll get off the tabletop. That might go okay. And as soon as you go in that pocket before the next 3, forget about it. You get just deflected any which direction. And it's such a crappy feeling. So then the solution is then you start being the guy that kind of like hangs up the rear tire to try to get in there a little more gently. And that's just slow and it doesn't really work great anyways. So yeah, that's when you watch like Jet's bike does a fantastic job of it. Hunter's bike does a great job of it. All those guys' bikes, when you watch them go 3 on, off, and then slam into the next one. Yeah, they are kind of finessing it in there. But not really. They're hitting it hard. Yeah. And those bikes are holding up.
Who do you think has the stiffest suspension out of the top 5? I think I have my pick, but I want to see what AJ's and the rest of the group are going to say. Just from watching.
Oh, I don't know. It's tough because my first instinct was to say Tomac, but you watch his bike and it looks really plush.
Yeah. Well, that's not an indicator on like stiffness. Like he's also just bigger and he hits things harder. So that's just the way that it works for him, right? So I'm sure like there's so many people. Yeah, EQ could ride my bike and be like, dude, I feel like I'm on just straight rigid frame. But you put Dave Drake's on it, it's like that thing looks plush, right? So. Yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit of that, but my pick was EQ also, or ET also. Like Tomac's bike, the way he's able to push through, and you made a really good point. Like he can OJ something, and I don't think he loses any time. Like you can literally see him; he can land rear tire first, even, and like really try to get all that momentum soaked up. Dude still pushes through like it's nothing. So. That's my take. Al, I'd love to hear what you think on who has stiffer suspension in that group.
It's a good question. I think I've always kind of watched Sexton, and I think Sexton always seems like he's kind of on top of the bike and never really he doesn't really crumble into the bike, right? So when we're talking about having good form and his knees don't fall forward very often, and he's always on top of the bike. And I think that also comes across in his setup as well. He seems like he's always kind of hovering over the bike. And I think, so I would say, from my view, I'd say Sexton, I think.
Yeah, interesting. That's a good perspective as well. Because, yes, 100%, he does look like he never comes down and squats into the bike that much. And also, he's the master of just washing the front really quick all at once, which would be a sign of maybe the bike being potentially slightly rigid. Another thing that they mentioned in the broadcast this weekend, and it made total sense, is Stewart was talking about riding on getting the bike vertical, getting the meat of the tires down to try to keep that traction as opposed to relying on more lean angle. And I think where Sexton has struggled in the past is Sexton will lean too much when it's not appropriate for that given corner, right? He'll just put too much trust into the bike, into the tires, and into the rut that it's going to hold him, and then it doesn't. Where Jet is really good at going super fast without having to lean that much. And I know this might be tough for you because if you didn't watch the race, but there was this one corner where it was basically an option line where you could go outside and then jump off the ledge, basically like a step down. But Jet started, and he was the only guy that I saw do this, was able to go in the inside rut and still get the step up or the step down out of the inside rut, which
I think Deegan
looked
did
pretty
once or
impressive.
twice.
Did he?
I think he did.
Which looked really impressive on TV. But I guarantee you, if you were to see that corner and that rut and that step down in person, you would be like, that's impossible.
So was he seat bouncing straight out the inside?
Yes, seat bouncing with his foot out, still coming out of the corner. And he did it clutch on the last lap of the second moto when Tomac was right back up on him and he needed it, and he got it clean. And like,
okay, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you. Just slightly off topic.
Yeah.
When you say clutch, what does that mean?
Oh, not a term in the
No,
UK?
definitely not. So me and Soph, my wife, we hear it on the broadcast all the time, and I'm like, what's he on about? Talk to me. I need to know.
Yeah, great question.
Good
Clutch,
point.
like high pressure.
Okay.
You came through in a high pressure situation. That was clutch. Yep, you made it happen when you needed to make it happen.
I like that.
Yep.
Because
Can we
yeah,
make
I'm
sure
a good
that
dictionary.
can we make sure that Al throws in those UK-isms that we don't know also so that we can learn? Because there's so many
100%.
times where like Mary's dad will say something and I'm like, buddy, I can't make the reference. So Al, I need you to like keep us on like the like UK slang and stuff.
Oh, 100%.
I have started saying peng.
Yeah.
So I have started saying peng a little
Oh wow.
bit. So
Okay, so that's different,
Yeah.
dude. So I've just turned 40. Pang is not a word I use, Dave.
okay.
Not a word I use. I'm not
We'll
cool enough for that.
We'll
Man.
start using it more.
Yeah, mate. I'm not cool enough for that, dude. Maybe you can pull it off. Maybe you can pull it off. But I just can't. Pull it
Maybe.
off. But AJ, I
Is it
gave
kind
you a
of, does
list.
it mean
Yeah,
the same
like-
thing as lush?
like Mary will walk in and be like, wow, you look proper peng.
Wow. Okay, so that's commitment. Yeah, I think so. I guess it's like you look really lush. You look really good. I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah.
But AJ, I gave you a list, dude. Have you been working on that or not?
Yeah. I'm pretty good with it. I'm pretty good. So, a couple off the top of my head would Lush is a great one. Try to break that one out when I can. Buzzing. I am buzzing. And I'm pumped and I'm keen. I don't know if keen is a UK
Yeah,
one.
keen.
That's an
Yeah,
Australian one,
I'm pretty keen. Yeah, I'm pretty keen for that. Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
So keen and buzzing would be about the same.
Yeah.
There was another good B one, wasn't there? That didn't mean the same thing, but another B one. What are my other good words?
I feel like I'm on the spot now and I'm letting all my UK peeps down. I'll get back to you for the next podcast.
Blimey. Blimey was the other B.
Blimey, mate. That's
So blimey.
Do you
is,
use that one?
yeah.
AJ?
Yeah, all the time.
Al, do you use that one?
Yeah, I do a little bit like blimey, mate. Like, yeah, it's a little bit Oz. It's a little bit Australian, but yeah, I do. It does pop out occasionally.
Huh.
But I'm still fixed on
Okay,
Pang right now. I can't get over Pang.
Dude, I'll say it.
Yeah,
dude.
I'll
I'll throw it out there.
I need to see it in context.
Like, oh man, that girl is looking lang right now, dude.
Wait, Lang or Pang?
Pang Lang.
Both.
Pang Lang.
What?
Both, dude. Pang is like,
Both.
from my understanding, Pang is like, yeah, dude, she looks good, but when you're like, she looks lang, dude, that's like,
Wow.
she's looking like a rocket.
Wow. Yeah, so Morgan, like,
Is
From
this
my
new age
understanding.
terminology?
I
think so,
yeah,
right, Al?
I think it's like, is it Gen Z? Are we Gen Z now?
I think so.
Okay.
So it's straight off of like Love Island UK.
Oh, for sure.
Terminology.
For sure.
Oh, well, I'm pretty
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the UK blacks that coined it, so I don't know. We'll see.
The
The
Claim
UK
it.
blacks.
Claim it.
Also, Al, we're not really PC on this
Cool,
one.
man.
So
I dig it.
we probably should do a disclaimer, AJ, that like that's just what it is,
Yeah.
kind of deal. Like, You know,
Yeah,
it's
we really don't know what we're
here.
talking about. We don't know what we're talking
Hell
about.
no.
Yeah.
We just talk. That's what a podcast is for. You just
Yep.
talk.
Exactly.
You just talk. Sometimes it can make sense. Sometimes it could be offensive. Sometimes it, doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
But with Super Motocross, what the heck else happened? So
Clutch.
yeah, let's talk about Jet and that clutch rut performance for another second,
Yeah,
because it was
that was
unfreaking believable.
How do you break down the fundamental skills that you would need for that one? I feel like Al, you'd probably be good at this one, like looking at each individual action. But I'm curious from you two, what are the fundamental steps that you need to take, and what does it take to do something like that? Because I see that and I'm like, again, lean angle would be too much. I would definitely come out of that corner, try to seat bounce, and I'm going off either direction.
Just
not going
completely
forward.
sideways.
Exactly.
That's the hard
How would you guys break down the fundamentals and things that are needed to be able to execute
I
that?
think for me, if you don't mind me jumping in, AJ, for me that will start with self-belief. Right, strip it right back. And I think too often I've seen so many riders who think, oh, I'm going to go and buy a 450 because it will make me faster. And it's kind of it's having a lack of awareness or a lack of understanding of your own capability. And I think when it comes to something like that with Jet, he just has so much self-belief, and that self-belief is earned, right? He's earned that self-belief. And I think when it comes to actually applying that self-belief to the bike, that's then a confidence thing. So I think as you apply your confidence with your skills and your self-belief, you can then look at an obstacle and you can look at something on the track and you go, hey, I can do that. I know what my bike's going to do. I know what my body can do. And I know what my mind can do. So I'm just going to go ahead and execute and see what happens, right? And I think that for me is, obviously, it takes a huge amount of bike skill to be able to pull something like that off. But I think it's stripping it way back. It starts with the self-belief. That's just the way I see it.
Spot on. Yeah. And the reason that that's so important in a section like that specifically is because that corner is so tight to that jump that most people, what they were thinking about even doing that jump, they'd get caught up thinking about the jump.
Right.
So they would mess the corner up. And they would almost go into self-preservation of don't mess up the turn, don't mess up the, okay, let's try the jump. And that just, it doesn't work for an obstacle like that. Even a 3-in when the corner starts to get rutted, it's really easy to be so caught up in, I've got to do this jump, that you just mess the corner up every time. Instead of having the self-belief to just, I'm going to rail this corner and then the jump will happen.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, especially watching him in the last lap, when Tomac's right on him and he didn't do the lap before, I think because of lappers, and he just gets it perfect. That's just full commitment, full belief in yourself, and just railing the corner. And then the jump was the byproduct of that. Another cool thing with kind of on the self-belief topic with Jet, I saw on a press conference this week where they don't, and I didn't know this. This has been common knowledge, I guess, and I didn't know. They don't do track walk.
Okay.
Is that a known thing and I just didn't know?
Wow.
I did not know that.
So that's just a Lawrence's thing, right? Or does
nobody else, definitely everybody else does track walk as far as I know. I've never heard of anybody not doing track walk.
Well, I mean, I guess
now the caveats,
you go on.
The caveat with that is maybe they're studying the track elsewhere, maybe they're studying a track map, maybe they have insider footage, and or are they just bypassing all of that altogether? Their reasoning for it was, when you're walking the track, it's easier to get into your head and to think about things that you can't end up doing in the first place, or getting worried about jumps that end up being easy. So it's why get caught up in that? We're just going to learn it our first lap when we go out there on the bikes.
God, I wonder if that's
Makes
a little
sense.
bit of what we talked about at the beginning of the pod, where Al was saying get into the gate a little too early, give your time to think and mull over things. Probably plays a little bit into that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally, for myself, I don't need an excuse to overthink something. So it's kind of right. So it's I think, and I guess from walking the track, you're never really going to kind of be able to see the track from the perspective of being on a bike. I guess so. It's kind of, I think you can. I've seen it so often where I'll go and do something and I'll pull in from the track or something, and somebody will say to me, "Hey, you need to take this line," and I'm going, well. But in order to get to that position on the track, I've got to do X, Y, and Z before that, right? So you can't see it from my perspective. So when I'm on a bike, I'm also taller when I'm on a bike. So my actual physical view of the track is different. right? So there's speed involved, there's angles involved, and all those things. So I guess it makes sense not to walk it, but to ride it.
It does. I think it definitely does. And now that it would be more, because essentially when you walk a track before you ride it, period, it's basically memorization, just learning where you're going, right? You're not really totally able to at that point. If it's a totally like Supercross, new layout, never ridden it before, never seen anybody ride it, you're not really figuring out line choice just yet, because you don't know how the track's going to break in. You can make up a whole bunch of hypotheticals, and then you get on the bike and you just wasted all that mental capacity, and because none of it actually happened anyways. A track walk in that circumstance would be more productive after riding it. So let's say if you went out for your first free practice, and then you had the opportunity to walk the track after that with a rutted track after seeing it on the bike, and then you could start discussing some line choice and some more specifics, that would be helpful. But a pre-ride completely on a fresh track that you've never ridden for a pro at that level,
kind of pointless.
I like where their head's at with that. It's like they're protecting their belief. They're not having to go out and, and shake themselves for no reason. They'll figure it out.
And also another,
you know what?
I think it's good.
I think we've got a buddy that does that sometimes. I think Josh Greco will skip every once in a while track walk.
Really? I've done it. I've actually, now that I say that, I've never heard of anybody doing it. I've definitely skipped track walk many times, but I've at least glanced at it from, the top of the stadium and just said, oh, okay, yep, got it.
You know what I used to hate that you used to do is Tony Cat, like cause I'd walk over like before practice. This is like going back to like 85 super mini days. I'd walk over and Tony's like, yeah, dude, I'm letting him sleep through practice. Like he's not going to go out and ride. And I was like, what a piece of crap, dude. What a piece of crap that I need every ounce of practice. And this piece of crap is just sleeping through like, oh, I'm going to whoop on Dave Drakes anyway, so might as well just take a nap.
Wow.
Like, dude, what a shot to the ego on those suspiciously stock cowies. Like, oh my goodness, dude.
I forgot about that. So what would happen, we had like a conversion van, Dave did too. And so I had a bed in the back. And what my dad would do is he would carry me from my bed to the conversion van. I would never wake up. I would just stay asleep, and I would sleep all the way from, usually an hour drive to the track. Like let's say we're going to Southwick, it's 45 minutes to an hour. And then practice would just start too early. So yeah, a lot of times he would just let me sleep as long as I needed to, so that I would just sleep straight through practice.
Going back to the whole track walk thing, I think my dad specifically used to make me walk. Didn't make me, but used to suggest I walk the track to actually calm me down. So it wasn't necessarily to kind of look at the track for any, real kind of lines or anything like that. It was just to calm me down, and I think it always used to work. And I guess from now what I know riding a bike, I almost think to myself that I know AJ, you just mentioned about walking a track once the lines had cut in. It's a strange dynamic because typically you'd want to look up as you're riding, right? So when you're walking a track that's got lines cut into it, it's almost a detrimental thing because you're looking directly down at the line as you're walking the track. And you shouldn't be doing that. You should be looking past and out of those lines, right? So again, it comes back to my suggestion of, I think it's just better on the bike. You just get a better feel for a track while you're on the bike.
Oh yeah, and there's been countless times where I've ridden a section over and over and over, do it flawlessly, realize that it's kind of gnarly, but I'm doing it no problem, and then walk that section afterward and go, how the heck were we doing that? How, like, had I had walked that, I would have never wanted to do it because the perspective is completely different. And things look massive. And then you get on the dirt bike, and this can definitely go either way. I think maybe for beginner, things maybe look doable, and then you get your gear on and you're like, nope. But I know for most pros, we think things look huge, and then we get on the dirt bike and it's not big. You can jump it right away. Yeah. So that was interesting. I saw that and I thought it was cool. There's been some cool conversations at those press conferences. I love how we say we're going to talk about SMX for 12 seconds, and now we're 40 minutes into the podcast. But
Jeez.
hey, Al, did you see the highlights of Ethan? Do you have the clip by chance of Deegan getting completely railed?
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Did you see it,
Oh, is
Al,
it
or
kitchen?
no?
Is that kitchen?
Yeah, Kitchen just.
Oh wow.
I definitely want to spend some time talking about this because I
Yeah,
think that
it's
this was
crazy.
interesting.
Here we go.
Oh, dude, he just commits. Okay.
Yes, definitely. The other angle is even a little better. I don't know if they showed in this clip, but yeah, this angle.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so the kamikaze move, for sure. Like he knew he was crashing. Now I will say, like, just keep letting it play through. It was typically when I assess a situation like this, it has a lot to do with where are they meeting each other in the corner, and Deegan's like kind of coming out of corner exit by the time they meet each other, which I would typically rule is pretty dangerous. But I will say that Kitchen did it as safely as possible just based on where he aims. So watch where he aims. He turns his tire and he doesn't aim for Deegan's body or his leg. He aims for Deegan's front tire. So it was a takeout attempt, but I will say it was like a safe. It wasn't an overly dangerous takeout attempt.
Yeah.
That's not one that I look at and I go, oh, he was putting Deegan in too much danger. I don't think so. I do definitely still think it was a cheap shot.
Oh, right? For sure. You can see the angle, like that angle in engineering, but like that vector angle that he was like coming in at, like to like really took up a lot of that, the cut down a lot of the real estate of that corner. Like that angle, like right there, I was like, that is, you're in there to do some damage.
He's also cutting he's also cutting across the ruts, right? So he's not intending on turning there at all. He thought over that roller before that section, he knew what he was going to do there.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and I've done that. Definitely I've done that. And I think, well, honestly, as much as I say it, it seemed like a bit of a cheap shot, I will also on the same token say well played, because it killed Deegan's points. Number one, he didn't have any previous infractions, so he only got a written warning, I think is what happened, right? So there was no real skin off of his back.
Yep. On the wrist.
He got up and finished in front of Deegan, which it did kind of screw his race though. So that's a negative. But I think the bigger overall picture here is dominance. And I think that it's good to, somebody needs to do this to Deegan at some point, or I know he only has one more Supercross season left in this class, but he's just owning these guys every step of the way, result wise, smack talk wise, mental game, takeout wise. Like nobody's really ever had the upper hand on Deegan in like an aggressive situation.
I will say, I don't think doing that to Deegan is the answer. You just won't get in his head doing that. You'll just piss him off, right? You won't get in his head. The way you get in Deegan's head is you beat him straight up.
Yeah.
This is kind of, it's not that it's, I agree. I guess it is kind of a cheap shot. This to me just looks like it's a lack of patience, a bit too much urgency to kind of make a point here. I think if Kitchen had straight up beat Deegan in this race, or even in that corner, if he'd have straight up passed Deegan, that's how you get in Deegan's head. You don't take him out. You just straight up pass him.
I like that.
Yeah, which right now won't happen. That's the problem.
But going back to like what Al said, the one time, I think we even talked about it, AJ, the one time that we did see Deegan maybe not flustered, but like thinking a little bit, was when he was racing Davies West Coast earlier this season, right? So that, like, when he got beat straight up by Davies, you could see him doing a little bit, like, obviously it wasn't to the level where it was going to like really damper his race or doing things super stupid, but you can see him getting a little like over hesitant with some of his movements and stuff, because it was getting to him like, dude, this guy, he doesn't have to play any mind games. He's just straight up fast. You know what I mean? So that's a really good point.
The reason Kitchen goes down here is I think he's holding his breath. He's gone in there. He's holding tension in his shoulders, and he's just gone for the killer punch, right? And it's that's why he's crashed, because he's held his breath. He's lost his line. He's lost where he's going. He's just gone in fixed mindset into taking Deegan out.
Yeah, he didn't even really try to stay up.
Yeah.
No, he was going in with one goal and one goal only. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. It was definitely entertaining, but then at the same time not. And usually I say not, and I think it's really not cool because it's dangerous. Like I said, in watching this one, I do think he did it as safely as he could have done a pretty blatant takeout. But still, and I agree with your guys' opinions. Yeah, so that means coming into the last race, even if Deegan goes 1-1 and Shimoda goes 2-2, I think that Shimoda can still win based on the points gap, is what
Really?
I believe.
Wow,
I kind of took away from that.
Yeah,
so
I think you're right on
I mean,
that.
it screwed Deegan pretty good.
He got 6.
Wow.
He got 6 overall. Joe should be two first for the second round. So yeah, I think it's pretty much inevitable that Joe takes us away with the way he's been riding recently.
And it's triple points.
Yeah,
next
so
week, right?
now it's triple point, even with the triple points. I think that's what that math worked out to. And
Wow.
yeah, so which will be interesting because then that will mean if Deegan will have to take Shimoda out, Shimoda's up there. I mean, which I think he would do in a heartbeat probably. So
Yeah.
it could, it definitely could make it interesting. Speaking of Deegan, he was doing Jake Paul stuff.
Okay.
Did anybody see that?
I think I might.
I
have
heard
seen
them talk
something
about
of
it.
Yeah. Is he?
I think that's good.
So what is he training with him, or is he? What is it? What does it look like?
I think they probably spent a day together, a half day together, just doing content, and maybe part of that was boxing together. So Deegan, I'm pretty sure in the press conference here, just talking about fighting and training with Jake Paul. It's all honestly like that. This specific conversation right here is another ploy to try and intimidate the competition in one way, shape, or form. Right? He's basically saying, "Okay, now I'm learning how to fight."
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can look at it if you're a kind of a diehard boxing fan or you've boxed yourself. You can kind of look for many other people to train and learn to fight from. Not going to sit here and diss Jake Paul at all. He's great for the sport, and I think he brings things into boxing that no one else really can, I guess. But I think this is definitely just a kind of a ploy from Deegan just to kind of puff his chest out a little bit and say, "Hey, look, I'm learning to fight. I'm getting some aggression off the bike." But it's a strange one. It's a strange one because I think that there's many other boxers that he could have learned from. He could have learned a lot more from.
Yeah, but it's all good for two reasons. One, he's leaning more into the Conor McGregor type of personality, which I think is his angle. And two, he's drawing the audience of somebody with like 25 million Instagram subscribers and however many people follow Jake Paul. So it is only a positive for the sport, period, which is cool. Yeah. And I do wish that more of the other guys kind of spent more time trying to just go outside the box a little bit with that type of stuff. Like to think of the access that a Jet would have to do collaborations with anybody that he would want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's always too bad when people don't leverage that.
Do you think them stepping outside of their comfort zone with that stuff? I'm thinking like if you were to ask somebody like a Webb or a Tomac that traditionally don't do stuff like that, do you think they have enough of an argument to go against doing something like that, where like the core Moto fan would view it as like he's not winning because he's not working hard enough and he's out playing with Jake Paul and all his buddies. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that's a strong enough argument to not do it?
No, because there will always be the idiots that say that if you get second or if you get third or if you don't win, right? The second that somebody doesn't win, that's the comments you start seeing, and that's just losers that don't know what they're talking about, right? So no, I do think that plays into some people's decision making.
Okay.
Because I know that there's plenty of pros out there that read those comments and read the toxic forums, like what's the Vital MX or something like that. There's definitely, the Lawrences did. I know that for a fact. Because there would be stuff that they would see on there and then that they would be talking about that I had no idea what they were referencing, but they were talking about a Vital forum, Wow. So now, do they still do that? I don't know, but I think everybody goes through their phases of worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think he's chosen a good sport as a crossover because obviously I boxed myself in 2019, and and
Oh,
my boxing trainer Max will probably be watching this podcast, and it's a great sport for just physical endurance, mental endurance, and kind of,
yes.
you know,
Yes.
forming that real kind of discipline in your mind. And it's also
Hmm.
great for like focused aggression. I think boxing is a sport that if you're out of control with your aggression, it's not the sport for you. So it's kind of a great way of kind of honing your aggression and making sure that you're making good decisions in pressure moments. So he's done well.
Yeah.
He's done well.
That's a really cool
Yeah.
breakdown. Yeah, what I liked about it was I had to be really precise, and it was like the recog of like if your trainer when you're hitting gloves and you're going like 1 2 6 2 1 3 2 3, something, you know what I mean? Like being able to hammer it right and get like really precise. It almost reminded me of like how precise you have to be with like a MotoGP bike or like go karts or something, where like you have to be this close away from your line every single lap, or else you're losing time, right? So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that, but like, yeah, you brought up a really good point, Al. It's all that.
Yeah, and it's learning to be aggressive but be controlled, and it's
Yeah.
also learning to be
Yes.
powerful but be relaxed.
Yes.
So it's
Yep.
a great crossover sport. Really, really is.
100%.
Real quickly, just on this topic, you know, being a younger guy who's kind of been involved with the internet space, I think this like Deegan and Jake Paul collab is less to do with boxing, but it's more so for growing the sport. And I think this is more in line with what AJ was saying. But being a younger guy growing up in the internet space, you see that everywhere. A lot of cross contamination between, you know, different niches and different genres and whatnot. I just think this is going to be the next evolution of the sport. As younger guys come in, you'll start to see more and more of this happen as time goes on. So to kind of piggyback off what you were asking, Dave, as far as like, you know, guys like Tomac and some of the older guys in sport, I don't think you'll be seeing them do as much of this, but definitely as more Deegans come in, especially somebody like him who's, you know, kind of been a pioneer for content inside the sport, I think you'll begin to see more of this stuff happen. It's just going to grow the sport for the younger crowd, which I think is really the way it always goes in history, right? You got to get the younger people involved so they stick into it, and then it just continues to grow. So I think this
I
is
hope, but are there anybody in that next wave that are doing anything?
not. I mean, there are
I don't
people who
think
do
there
the
are.
vlog and stuff, but they don't like
Are there?
they don't leverage it like Deegan does. So
Yeah,
I
I think-
hope, at least for like a fan's perspective, this kind of opens the door a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Kind of
this, I
catches
mean, that
on.
stuff's kind of cool.
I almost
And
feel like
for those who don't know, like, sorry,
Go on,
sorry,
Ethan,
you're
that's
good
fine.
now. I was just say, for those who don't know, like Jake Paul has been in the internet scene for probably 15 years now when Vine first came out, right? So if there's anybody to do it with, this is the guy, right? So it's just a matter of them doing this more, and I think it's gonna be huge. A lot of eyes that are gonna be on the sport.
Yeah, and I just think going off the back of that, I don't know if the new generation of riders are going to have a choice but to be doing content and doing things like that, right?
Yep.
And I think in the same way the older generation you can learn from, like for you look at Jet for example, the entire field can't not try and do what he's doing. They have to do what he's doing in order to beat him. And I think with Deegan doing the stuff he's doing, like the collab with Jake and all that stuff, I think the younger riders are just going to have to do this stuff because it's just going to be part of the package.
Really? 100%. And that's a really good point, because I get all the time, like a bunch of people are like, dude, how is AJ getting like all these cool sponsors? How is he Fox sponsored, you know? And so-and-so's out there getting like top 12 and they can't get them. Like, because like that metric doesn't matter as much for certain brands, right? Like, yeah, it matters like for Supercross as a whole. Like, yeah, dude, top 12 out, dude, if you're just there qualifying, you're a freaking G, you know what I mean? However, certain sponsors are looking for different things. Now it's not just the how did he do on Saturday night? It's the, well, what kind of influence does he have? And kind of the same thing like with the Retas. Like when we talked about it, does it carry the same weight to be top 5 on the Retas, or can you still get the job done in a different way, right? Like is there, are things changing to where now people are starting to look at Minios more and like the other, you know, Mammoth, and then throw in your following, right? So I think a lot of it kind of plays into that that whole ecosystem as well.
Yeah, just creating a whole package.
It's all about attention.
Yeah.
It's all about attention. It's like the Gary V book, Day Trading Attention, where it's attention. That's all that matters. So if winning races gets attention, awesome. A huge part of me still believes that winning races has some value, but I don't think it has as much value as people think now. I really don't. Because people, who won the 2 coasts of 250 championship in Supercross this year?
Deegan and then Vial,
and
correct?
Vial.
Vial?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Do you think Vial's selling a lot of, what kind of gear does Vial wear?
Yeah.
You think Vial is selling a lot of Alpine Star gear or selling a lot of KTMs? Or I would guess no. Probably not.
I mean, I would say
I can
I've
think
never
of even
seen
better examples of that.
I've never seen a Vial replica bike at the track, but I've for sure seen a Deegan replica bike pull into the track. Yamaha SMX plates and stuff.
Yeah,
I know
and
that
that's
for a
where
fact.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast or not, but like who's worth more, who should have a bigger 450 contract, who's worth more money, Deegan or Jet? And I would say Deegan all day long is worth more money. He's got way more attention.
Hold on, I gotta throw in a disclaimer. This is not AJ saying that he thinks Deegan is a better rider
right.
or better than Jet. We are fans of both those riders. They are talking specifically on value of their impressions and their impact. So again, AJ is not saying that he thinks Deegan is, because I'm gonna get hit with, how can you say this? And I'm like, I didn't even say it. Come on. AJ's burned me with enough of these things where AJ's not saying that he's rooting for Deegan more than Jet or that Deegan's a better rider. So just put it up.
Yeah, so what you're saying, AJ, basically is like Deegan's got the whole package, and the color bike he rides is just the icing on the cake.
Well, Deegan's going to sell product more than Jet would sell a product, because by the way, that's a tough comparison because Jet can sell product. But I could pick much better example maybe would be who won the 2 coasts, Deegan and Vial. This is actually a way better comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Who sell more product of anything? Helmet, goggles, boots, knee braces, bikes, electrolyte powder. It doesn't matter what this person uses. Who's going to sell more, Deegan or Vial? Deegan a bajillion times over, because he gets way more attention, and then the race results aren't as relevant. I can go down the line and compare every single person, but it's about attention. And I do think that the sport is caught up in that a little bit, but I still, for sure, it's a bit stuck on the, win races on Sunday, sell bikes on Monday type of thing. Right. And it's just not, it's why we don't really partner with any brands in the sport, because people don't understand the value of the Moto Academy. Anybody within the sport, these brands, because I'm not winning races, it doesn't work out in their algorithm of, okay, how much is this person worth? It hasn't caught up yet. I don't know when it will, or if it will, or if that's just the nature of a racing industry. You got to wonder if like Formula 1 or MotoGP are the same, and maybe they are. Maybe it's for the hardcore racers, like they race. They're there to race, and that's it. And I respect that too.
Yeah, there's definitely like a hardcore kind of following to any sport, right? The diehard guys who are just in it for the motors, they're in it for the smell, and they're in it for the whole kind of thing where they just want to see stuff being raced. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, doesn't really matter what color it is, they just want to see it raced.
Yep.
And then you've got that other dynamic of these guys who are showmen, right? Like Deegan's a showman. He is. In my perspective, I think Jet's got the whole package. I think Jet can be a showman when he needs to, but he's also a racer, and he's there to race and win. And I think that's a good package, because Jet has shown that when he needs to apply the showman, he can, and when he needs to apply the racer, he can. And I know a second ago, AJ, you mentioned an electrolyte powder. Do you know of a good one, by the way?
So, in fact, Al, I absolutely do, and I've been drinking it, grapefruit, on this podcast. If you guys go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330, you can drink the same electrolyte powder that is hydrating me and making me look as absolutely shred city as I am right now. And that is LMNT. drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. If you use that link, we get credit for it, which is very helpful. You get 4 of their most popular flavors for free with that order, and try it. Grapefruit lemonade is a fan favorite as of late. This stuff's good, and the reason it's important is because you need electrolytes mixed in that water to retain the water, and so you don't just pee every 5 minutes. Yes, of course you can get electrolytes from your diet as well, but if you're out there sweating on a dirt bike like crazy, you're going to be sweating out too much of that sodium and you're going to cramp. So if anybody's ever had those terrible, I mean, I've got such bad Charlie horses and such bad hand cramps that like I have to pry my hands off the handlebars. It's been that bad. And it was before the days of knowing that I had to drink something with that salt, with that magnesium, with that potassium, and those electrolytes to retain the water. So yes, thank you, Al, for teeing me up. I drink LMNT all the time.
You know, I think I need to get that stuff in the UK. I was speaking to Mark24, shout out Mark24. I was speaking to him the other day, and he said there was somewhere in the UK that sold it, but I can't find it. So I need to get on the LMNT train. I really do. That needs to come to the UK. We need to make that happen.
Al, make sure you do lemonade. AJ's gonna try to sway you. Lemonade is it, dude. It kept us going at Salt Lake. And dude, you're gonna.
That's the one.
If we had lemonade, I can guarantee you I would have missed the birth of my kid.
Wow.
Because we had a full stack in the delivery room, and dude, I was banging back a lot of them, dude. If I would have had lemonade, I would have been like, hold on 1 minute, hold on. Oh my god, it's so
Pause the birth.
Wait, no, hold it for a second. I'm still drinking.
Pause the birth. I'm having my electrolytes.
Yeah, right.
Love that. Yeah, we need to make
Shout out LMNT.
Yeah.
Shout out.
So guys, we're gonna hit some podcast questions, it appears, and then we'll hit maybe one or two, a couple of coaching wanted. And is that what we would end it with? Is there anything after that?
We could do top members again. I did look, and it's pretty similar to last time, but we can give a couple shout outs to some app members.
Shout out some top members. Were there any reaction clips?
No reaction clip. We had the one, actually, yeah, we do have one for Enduro, which would be kind of funny.
Oh yeah, pull this up quick, because have you guys seen this?
What the?
Wow. Okay, so this is the beach. This is the beach race, right?
I don't know. This looks like if you want. This is how fun. And does this make you want to do Enduro?
That dude's just getting filled in, right? That looks like a beach race. Oh no, it's like an Erzberg or something. Oh my dude.
Shout out.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I am not. Is that Spencer in that clip?
Yeah, that's Spencer.
Getting roosted?
What, getting roosted or doing the roosting?
Getting roosted, I think. Wow.
Is he riding a TW? Is it an old Yamaha?
It's sick, whatever that is. But I tell you what, I am not cut out.
Same
for that.
I'm
not cut out for that. Never have been.
Nope.
Never will be. So Spencer Wilton, you're a better man than I am. I just watched back I challenged Spencer Wilton to a game of bike video on YouTube. I just watched it like 2 nights ago. It's great. It was such an entertaining video, and I totally forgot. I don't know if I had ever really watched it back. I just start busting out freestyle tricks the whole time. And then every time I mess up and it goes to him, he does some gnarly enduro type of skill. And so it's just forcing each other into our realms. And it was hilarious. So go on YouTube and type in Spencer Wilton, AJ Cat and Zero, and try and find that video, because I watched it with Millie, and Millie loved it, but I was fully in it. I'm like, this is great. I need to do that more with Spencer.
Yeah. So there's I don't know, it might be before your time, but there's an ex-world champion called Dave Thorpe. He's from the UK. He runs an enduro school here, and I did an enduro school with him last year, I think, the year before. It was cool. We did some off-piste stuff. So the instructor there took us off-piste. And honestly, the thing that got me was the way they muscle the bike around, and they get up over this stuff that you're looking at like, I'm not riding up that, or I'm not riding down that.
Yep.
But we did it, and it was so much fun. But to do it like that, nah, I might have to turn into Jake Paul if somebody was roosting me like that.
Yeah, Spencer didn't even look like he's minding it, just shaking his head a little bit. Are you kidding me? I would leave my bike right there and call it a career.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even like getting roosted. I don't like getting dirty. Right. Like literally, if when I clean my boots, I want them to stay clean. I don't like walking through mud to even get to my bike to ride onto the track, dude. Call me a prissy diva. I don't care. I don't, dude, I don't like getting dirty, dude. And
Well,
just
why do you think I've
watching
been
that, I'm like,
Supercross
yeah,
only
keep
since
it.
2012?
Is that it? Just because you
Yes.
don't want to get dirty? That's it?
I'm a fair weather rider. I'm a fair
Yep.
weather rider. I used to be.
Yep.
I'll let me say that because I've changed a bit. I definitely. I say that, but then there's some people that will
AJ
sit there
did?
and eat roost like that, no problem. And
Oh,
love it. That's
dude.
what they're there for.
Al, you don't know
And,
how
that's not me.
frustrating it is with this guy.
Is my audio freaking gone?
Stop. Yeah, look at him. Just realizing.
Who did it?
Should we talk about our favorite moto snack while we're trying to get him
Okay,
to
let's
figure
do
his
that.
stuff out?
Let's do that. Talk to me, Dave. What are we eating on race day?
Dude, you know what's crazy is for the last couple of years, I try not to eat when I'm riding, or like even before, which is I know is super bad, but back when it was like we're riding like 2-3 days a week and we're constantly doing it, dude. I used to love a good like handful of grapes and some like cashews or trail mix or something. Dude, that was set me off right, dude. Used to love that stuff.
That sounds good. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Yeah.
I don't eat.
Uh-huh.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yep.
So I'll wake up with like
Yeah.
pre-race nerves. The anxiety levels are super
Yep.
high. Tummy's turning knots, and I'm just like, I can't eat. And then I'll go out and do practice.
That's me now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Practice first moto, and then I'll come in. I'm like, I'm white out. I'm like, I can't operate because I've not got any food in my body. So I'm learning. It's bad. But I guess my favorite snack would be, in fact, my friend Dino. He's a great guy, really good friend of mine. He eats like, I don't know if you guys have like a rice cake. It's like a right. So we have like he eats like a rice cake with honey on, and he introduced me to it today, and it was like so good. I'm going, well, there you go. That's my race day snack right there. Done.
Can't go wrong with a race cake. I will say my one compliment I think I've ever gotten from AJ, or one of the few, was my race day snacks. When we were at summer camp, I'd bring bananas and peanut butter crackers. That's like my absolute go-to.
Ooh.
You stop at Stewart's on the way to the track. I'll grab a pack or two of the peanut butter crackers and a banana.
Oh yeah, dude, peanut butter.
That'll get me through the day.
Yeah,
I like to eat it light. If I eat heavy, I feel sluggish. I can't do it.
Same.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah,
100%.
Do we have him back, or is he still MIA?
What I missed?
AJ Berg.
Oh, he's back. Hello.
Talking race day snacks. What's your go-to race day snack, AJ, or ride day snack?
Well, I thought I had a bunch of answers to this, and then I saw somebody comment peanut butter and jelly, and I was just like, "Yep, that's it." Peanut butter and jelly is probably.
Ooh.
It is easy to get down. It kind of hits nutritionally like what you would want and need, and it just delicious. Now, as long as you have whoever's prepping, definitely had some sociopaths prep me some PB&Js that the ratios are just absolutely not right.
Wait, so what you're not 50-50 though, right?
Well, no, I definitely like, I'd say heavy on the peanut butter, and you have to be realistic with how much jelly you're putting on. So the problem is I've had a lot of people in the past go really light with the peanut butter and just go nuts with the jelly. Absolutely nuts with the jelly. And the ratio is just whacked.
That's dirty work, dude.
That's criminal.
That's dirty work.
That's super criminal. Yeah. Well, here's a better question though. What kind of jelly? Are we talking grape? Are we talking strawberry? Because this could make or break everything right here if you guys say the wrong answer for me. I just hope you know that.
Well, obviously it's just OG grape.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
great,
that's all I need to hear.
So
I'm happy.
Obviously,
that's
for me, it's not. We don't call it jelly. I call it jam. So I'm going strawberry.
Yeah,
I'm
see, that's
going
the problem.
strawberry.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
There was a year. Al and EQ. There was a year, right, where I forget what it might have been 20 or 21 or whatever, where I think it was the SGB days where they had like a bunch of Uncrustables. I swear, AJ and everyone, dude, they ran through 50 a day.
Yeah.
It has to be close to that, dude. They are literally slamming Uncrustables.
So good.
Like,
so
good. There were so many Uncrustable wrappers. It looks like they were luring school children, dude. Like, it was literally just non-stop, just wrappers everywhere, dude. Like, how many are they gonna eat in a day?
I heard the statistic a few years ago. I don't remember which NFL team it was, but like their practice facility, like they go through thousands and thousands of Uncrustables per season. I don't remember what team it was or what the metric was, but it was an absolutely absurd amount of Uncrustables that the NFL teams eat throughout the season.
Wow. Okay. Super brief. Super brief description. What's an Uncrustable?
It's a peanut butter and jelly. They come frozen,
Okay.
and there's like no crust on them. They basically like take the piece of bread
Yeah.
and cut it to a circle.
Okay.
So there's no crust. It's just
Oh wow.
American.
Yeah. Cool.
It's I
No,
don't know.
slightly-
You're better off making your own.
Just
but
going back
they're
to
easy.
ratios with peanut butter and jelly or jam. If you have too much peanut butter, it gets stuck to the roof of your mouth, and you just end up looking like an idiot. So you got to.
Well,
be,
the Uncrustables do a great job because it's got the perfect combination. It's got just enough. It's got the right amount of peanut butter, so it keeps the jelly intact. And it's and there's a science to it, but the Uncrustables has it. Uncrustables has that ratio down to a science. So if you want to know like the peanut butter to jelly ratio, take a bite into an Uncrustable and do a little bit of recon.
Sweet. I need to make that happen.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend. All right, we're going to dive into coaching. Just kidding. We're going to dive into podcast questions. My computer's going to die in, I don't know, anywhere between 3 to 6 more minutes. So we'll try to make this quick.
Come on.
Ethan, you want to fire him off for us?
Yeah, we'll do one or two, and then we can end it just so we don't lose you. So first up, shout out our guy Mark24.
Mark24, shout out.
He says
Shout out.
#PodQuestions.
What a guy.
Shout out AJ and Dave. My question is reference bars. I'm 6'2" and struggle to find a bar I'm happy with. Should I be looking at the sweep of the bar, the height, or the width? Thinking that a big sweep would keep my arms in and elbows low against less of a sweep to keep elbows out and up. Not in a position to try lots of bars, so I'm looking for a good starting point.
So good question. I just like I like the Phoenix. Is it 80, 55, 80? What the heck is the numbers on that thing? And it's just it's a good straight. I would describe it as like a straight sweep. It feels nice and straight. And the height for 6'2" is perfect. If you run it in alignment, when you put your bars on in alignment with the angle of the fork tube, it's perfect. And you don't have to adjust much else. I will say, like when I hop on people's bikes, the one thing they mess up the most is putting these wacky bars on that shouldn't be on there, or bar risers, or putting them way back in the adjustment or way far forward in the adjustment. Like that's one thing that will make a bike feel messed up quickly. Do you guys have opinions one way or the other? I just feel like those Phoenix bars that we have on the Phoenix Moto Academy bar, it's just you can't go wrong with that bend. You really can't.
So I've seen Mark ride a lot, and I think he looks great on the bike. So it doesn't look like he's kind of uncomfortable with the bars. So from my perspective, I usually look at stuff like that as maybe a little bit of overthinking, in a sense of kind of trying to fix those little things to maybe adjust how you feel on a bike for sure. But I think it's better to kind of look at your form and kind of what you're doing with your body on the bike. And I think, like you say, AJ, just having everything in alignment, not everything in crazy angles, just bars in line with the forks, levers in a good position, and then just look at how you can adjust your body to kind of suit what you've got, if that makes sense, as opposed to always trying to fix the bike to fix the problem, if that makes sense. But I think Mark looks great on a bike. He looks super comfortable, so it doesn't look like his bars are uncomfortable to me.
Completely agree.
I like the Phoenix bar too. I've been running it for a little while. I ride with Manny a lot, and Manny's probably 6'1", 6'2", AJ. A good friend of ours, Al, that you'll definitely end up meeting.
Yeah, I need to order some Phoenix bars, big time.
Yeah, for sure. But I think Manny, like he runs pretty stock setup. I think only on one bike did he move his clamps forward to like that next forward position. I think it was like on his Cowie 450 that AJ was like, you need to get off of immediately. But like other than that, I think a lot of people, I feel like a little bit like people are overthinking. Like look at Benny Bloss, dude. Yeah. Like he's a giant. And I think he runs a pretty stock setup. He might do a little bit of extra seat foam, but I don't think he's got a super exaggerated like cockpit area. Right. I think he kind of makes that standard setup work for him by like riding proper form. The TMA fundamentals, which AJ talks about a lot, is like it really. That's kind of like a one-stop shop catch-all,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Good answers. I like it. I like it. Ethan?
Who's next?
We're gonna continue our UK takeover.
Oh,
This next question
Alex
for Alex
Panda.
Panda.
What a guy.
Oh,
Shout
shout
out.
out
Guy.
UK Alex
Yeah,
Panda.
that guy.
What do you believe
Amazing.
is the next big change coming to the dirt bike world? We obviously started with 4-strokes, then went to 2-stroke, now back to 4-stroke. Is it going to be electric or something else? And I think this honestly can kind of play along with one of our topics beforehand. I don't think it's going to be a bike thing personally.
Steam engine.
Steam.
Oh, we're going back to my
Steam.
09. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or like,
Steam.
or maybe like fart power.
Fart power? How many fart power do you
Oh,
have?
like 28 fart power. Like 28, yeah, 28
Wow.
farts.
Oh, he got the BBL upgrade. That guy's gonna be calling, dude.
Wow, killer. That's a good question. I mean, I it's hard to know, isn't it, really? I guess where I think realistically, I think the major kind of next step within the industry, I think will come from riders and will come from the people. Because I think ultimately the technology that we're on now, I don't really know if it goes any further, right? Because we still need to keep it bars, 2 wheels, suspension, and a motor, no matter what that motor is. So I think the next step with racing and riding will come from people. I think that next evolution will come from people, and I guess that's either in rider skill or the way the tracks are built, or I don't know. I guess that's just my take on it.
I think taking that a step further, it's going to come in some creativity on what type of tracks you can create, where you can create them, and what type of facilities you can build around
Right.
that. Like I was doing some deep brainstorming last night a little bit because I've been just kind of building out more and more of the retreat concept that I'm going to do. And I just, the place where you could build a 10, 20 acre, small kind of private property type of situation with electric bikes in an amazing location. I mean, you could do it really anywhere that you would want to. I think if people get creative with that, that could start to unlock some brand new avenues that nobody's even thought of yet. Attracting people to the dirt bike world that would have never had access to it otherwise, right?
Yep.
Inner city kids, like depending on where you get a track, like there's so many things that you could do with e-bikes and just based on location. And nobody's scratched the surface of that yet. I know people have talked about that as an idea, but I haven't seen really anything yet. Like, yeah, could buy a beach house and put a Stark track on the track where your beach house is. Like there's so many cool concepts. And for me, I want to tie that around the retreat idea where people can come and stay in my guest house and go to the spa and do the meditation stuff, like kind of go through finding inner peace with Coach AJ, get training on the bike, go to the ocean, whatever, the lake or the stream, whatever's on the property. Like, yeah, I think there's some really cool, fun ideas. Now that's something a bit different, but you could bring it to cities or close to cities. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff the electric bikes we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, it just makes it more accessible for a new kind of genre of people, for want of a better word. I think it just makes e-bikes they're less scary, they're less noisy, they're all these things, and they're just more accessible because they've got a slow speed, right? It's like my 450 hasn't got a slow speed. It's all in. So a Stark has got a slow setting. So suddenly people who wouldn't normally want to ride are kind of going, hey, I can do this now. I can have a go. So I think, going back to Alex's question, I think that's where the next evolution will come, is from people using what we've now got.
Yeah, there's so many possibilities. I mean, Millie is 20 months old, so 21 months old now. And I'll put the Stark in 10 horsepower mode. She sits in front of me on the seat and she does the throttle completely herself.
There you go.
On the Stark, on the same bike that I'll put in 68 horsepower and go and ride around. So yeah, I think that people are starting to understand that some of the capabilities. I think we're still very much in a phase of we're still stuck in closed-mindedness a little bit of like, e-bikes suck, right? But we're sort of, I think, coming around. It just, the sport, everything just takes a little bit. I think it's an old school mentality. There's a lot of old school kind of closed-minded, maybe people that have been at the top of the sport for a while or have operated some of the, I think that we're finally starting to break through. I was thinking about it yesterday and I was just like, man, I was just really having a moment of gratitude for the Moto Academy and what we've created, because we've created so much, and it's just like, we're not even getting started yet. The sport is about to, and we are kind of in that, getting into that next level now. So we're gonna be getting more and more and more new people, more now than we ever have.
And the cool thing is as well, off the back of,
which is very
cool.
cool.
Off the back of that is kind of like that doesn't have to be rushed, right? And the whole thing with the e-bike evolution and all that kind of stuff, we don't need to rush it. I know there's still those diehard guys that are kind of, oh no, e-bikes suck, and that's fine. That is okay. That they can think that way, because it's not a rush. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? And I know, AJ, we've had this conversation where things don't need to be rushed, right? They can just they can be done in a controlled kind of strategic way. And I think the same can be said for the evolution of the sport. It doesn't have to be rushed. You know, it's cool that these companies are bringing in these new bikes and these e-bikes and these new concepts, but let's not rush it. Let's just let it organically grow. And I think that's exciting.
100%.
Yeah, because the reality I see has a combination of all of them. You know, it's not like one is forcing the other one out. Like look at two strokes. They're as popular now as they've ever been, right? And they go hand in hand with the four strokes. It's just different riders, different accessibility. It adds. Doesn't take away somewhere else. It just continues to add to what we're doing, which is
cool. Even
cool.
four strokes, people were kind of up in arms when the first four strokes were starting to hit Supercross and stuff. So, and look at that. Now people, could you imagine not riding a four stroke, you know? So you got to take it with the grain of salt too, but the level of accessibility. And I think another big change we're going to see is like with the format. I think just like Formula One, how there's an F1, then there's an F2 and F3. I can see a shift where that may have to be the next evolution of our sport also, where there's like almost like a B and C pro division as feeder classes, because not only is there a lucrative aspect to it, but also it's another avenue for promotion and a lot of other stuff too. So I think that could be a cool
and the whole sport's starting to get there. Like the SMX Next thing is coming around, is starting to, those guys are starting to look, I was watching them yesterday. They look a lot closer to pros than they did 3 years ago when you would watch them on TV, right? 3 years ago, you'd watch it on TV and it was the best race of the night because they'd all crash.
Yeah.
Right?
Think
now I
Monster
watch
Cup.
it and
the All-Stars, like, dude, all those like young B riders is like, oh, this is, they're wild. That's but carnage. Now, you look like you're watching, B group in practice. That's what it looked like to me.
And I think as well, off the back of those kind of groups as well, I think an E-class at these events would be a great step forward. Yes. You know, these guys recognizing that actually let's get these kids on e-bikes and let's get an E-class going, because I think there's room for it, and I think it works. It just works.
Yeah, I like it. Good question. Who is that? Alex Panda? Shout out
Alex
Panda.
Shout out Alex
Panda. Do we have another one here, Ethan?
Yeah, no, this last one actually is a pretty good segue from this last question. So while we're speaking about the next level, this question from Will C works pretty well. So for the Motocross of Nations, the Dutch team passed on Hurlings, and the team is now De Wolf, Koldenhoff, and Vlaanderen. Sorry if I mispronounced that. They announced Hurling not being on the team. A couple days later, he was first overall at Dutch MXGP, showing he's still a beast at his age. So AJ, what's your take about older riders passing the torch? At what age should Hurlings quit because he's now 30, or he's now only 30 and still has a lot in him? We are all the same age. What's your take on it?
Well,
AJ,
you're really old, AJ. So
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm super duper stupidly old, so I can definitely I have the credentials. I can answer this. That's very young. Hurlings is a few years younger than me. Super young. He's got 5 to 7 years left of physical prime. At least, probably, right? So I think it is completely injury dependent, and he's had a lot of them. So that would be the question: is how badly have you hurt yourself? How does your body feel? And mentally, where are you at? Are you motivated? Because I think what happens is everybody goes through the same exact journey of maturing and starting to be able to actually enjoy things where maybe before it was just too high pressure and they didn't enjoy it. Even at the pro level, you would think, oh, these guys are pro, like they've got it figured out mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Just as many people don't have it figured out mentally as in the normal world when you're at the pro level. Nobody does. There's one or two, and those are the guys you see at the very, very top, and that is the separation. We don't talk about it enough. I try to talk about it a lot because it's all that I care about is just the mindset side of things. But what separates Jet from everybody else is not that he's got godlike powers on the dirt bike. He's acquired a lot of skill, but it's mindset. It's mindset that separate the top 3, top 5 guys from everybody else. And what the heck was the question? What were we talking about? Oh, so I think at 30 is the age, 28 to 30 is the age that you hit when most people start to, males, mentally mature to that next stage of their lives where they are higher level thinkers and they're able to be a bit more patient and not worry about what other people maybe think as much, and just being able to just be better people all the way around. And that, at least for me, when I hit 28, it was like something that somebody snapped their fingers and it was like, oh, you're a different person now. And mentally alone, that was a massive, massive, massive advantage compared to the AJ that was 16 years old, 21 years old, 24 years old. Light years different human being. And I could handle pressure better. I could do all of the things that I couldn't do before. So there's a huge argument to be made there. Like, I think these guys should be coming in. If I were to train a young athlete, so like if I were to train Millie, if Millie wants to be a pro in any sport, there will be zero rush. We will play the long game like nobody's ever played the long game, because the older you get, the smarter you become, the better chance you have at excelling at whatever sport that you're doing. And I think, yeah, we're seeing it. We're entering an era of the sport where guys are lasting a lot longer than they used to. The Tomac's, the Barcias, Dino even like is a year or two older than me, but like Barcia and Tomac is a year older. A lot of Anderson is my age. These are 31, 32, 33-year-old guys that are still doing it at a high level. We're back even 2 eras ago. Dungey, Villapoto, these guys, Carmichael, were retiring when they were like 26, 27, right?
Yep.
And that seems like a disservice because you're just starting to mentally mature. For some people, for most people.
I think jumping on the back of that Carmichael thing, I think that's strategic. And I think when you retire and when you kind of start to recognize that you're not as capable as you once were, or what if that transpires to you start getting beat or whatever, if you're the top guy, I think for Carmichael, he retired strategically, right? We all know that. He retired while he was on top. And I think that's clever because he can hang his boots up knowing that he didn't get beat. And I look back to kind of, I think it's maybe 2001, I think, when McGrath and Carmichael, so Carmichael's on the Cowie and McGrath was on the Yam, and McGrath got beat. And that was so hard because he was the king, right? And if only McGrath had retired the year before, he would have retired on top. And I think Carmichael saw that. He recognized that had taken place, and he saw that how detrimental that was to McGrath, right? I think. So he then got to that point in his career where he was like, okay, I'm on top. I'm however old I am, I'm going to hang my boots up, because it was clever. I don't necessarily, I could even go as far as to say, I don't know if he wanted to. I think he just did it because he would retire on top. And I guess it comes down to
but there's a level of mental but I feel like that's a lower level way of thinking. You could argue that, at least. This is actually a fun discussion. So you could argue that that's a lower level way of thinking, because then you're in your ego thinking about your legacy. Like, what is that? You know, I mean, who cares about, you eventually you can get to a place where you level up to the point where legacy doesn't matter at all, because you understand that everybody on this planet that is alive right now in 100 years will all be dead, and nobody will remember you anyways. So it's like, what does that really matter? The mission is to be able to, do something that you really love doing, that you're really good at, and that you could help other people along the way as you do it. So I think that if as a professional racer, you do that by just leveraging your platform to be able to be an inspiration to others. And I think Reed did a cool job of continuing the way that he did, really enjoying his last few years, even though he was in racing in the LCQs with me. But I think that has a level of inspiration to it in itself. And that can help more people than just retiring when you're on top.
So are you saying,
it's cool
are you saying that kind of Ricky had a bit of an ego about it and wanted to kind of remain the man, even in retirement?
100%. That would be a completely ego-driven decision. Yeah, because unless he just hated racing, which he has said before that he didn't like racing, which is also an ego answer to that question. So because the reason he didn't like racing is because of all the weight of the world that was put out around it. I think riding dirt bikes is the most fun, other than anything that I could do with Millie, because that's the most rewarding thing. It's the most fun activity in the world is riding dirt bikes. There's nothing else I would choose to do other than riding a dirt bike. It's the most fun thing.
So that kind of ego side of things then would fall into the narrative or the perspective of the way I see an ego, because I know me and you have talked a lot about the ego and kind of what that looks like, and I'm still trying to kind of get my head around a little bit of your kind of viewpoints on ego. So what you're suggesting is what Ricky did, being that kind of ego. I'm just going to kind of puff my chest. I'm going to quit while I'm the best. That would fall in line with how I see ego, right? Is there a way you could expand on that?
You're seeing the more braggadocious, arrogant, not arrogant, but like,
I know what you mean.
Or it's also the way that I see that is he's identified with being the person that is the winner that's on top. That's the ego.
So is that his fault?
Is
what?
Do
you think that's his fault? Do you think that's if you're identifying with that ego, many would say, well, that's the right one to identify with because he was on top. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the levels to this is that, like, as you get older, some people maybe figure this out when they're 40 or 50 or 90 or 100 years old. But I'd say most people never figure it out. Is the goal really is to never identify with any of it, because none of it is you. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
I think some people are so hardcore, their whole lives are based on the identity that they or other people have helped shape.
That's me 100%.
So Ricky Carmichael, the greatest of all time, undefeated, like that's a lot of that's not only you, but it's millions of other people around you pigeonholing you into that identity.
Even if it's like a quote unquote positive identity, right?
Right. It's still, that's almost like an oxymoron. I don't know, I don't know if there is such thing as a positive identity if you're that much attached to it. You always have to be fluid and be willing to just be different and change, and to understand that none of it defines who you are. Not anything that you've done, not any event that's happened to or around you. None of it is actually who you are.
So to frame that, then you would suggest, like, kind of reframe what you just said. Like, can you kind of explain that again?
So I guess tying it back into the original question of when I was 28, 29, 30 years old, I started to have the realization that none of this is me. I'm not who is AJ Catanzaro? I don't even know how to answer that question, by the way. I don't know. I'm nobody, no thing. I'm nothing. I'm just something that's here. I'm a body that's here experiencing. I've practiced riding a dirt bike a lot, so I've acquired some of these skill sets, but none of it is actually who I am. And when you learn to operate in that way, you don't have pressure, really, because what is there to lose? You don't really have anything to lose. You don't have an identity. You're not attached to anything. People could take everything that you have, everything that you are, and it wasn't you anyways. So it could really help. I just listened to a podcast, high level tennis player, Djokovic. And he was on a Jay Shetty podcast, and he talks a lot about that and just some high level things that he was doing and being trained in when he was young, to just form that mindset, to be able to just be a bit detached.
I struggle with that. You see, I can't relate in my head to that detachment, because I think, although I completely understand where you're coming from in the fact that it's not a good thing to kind of be attached to an identity, because, like, for example, me, I grew up with a certain identity, and when that was pulled away from me, it caused me huge trauma. And I think it wasn't necessarily that anything particularly bad happened to me, it's the fact that that identity was robbed from me. So from that perspective, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I think it's a good thing to not be kind of fixed in that identity. But it's hard for me, because I think we almost find identity in everything we do, even if that
Totally.
thing is for 30 seconds, right? We do something for 30 seconds, or we do something for 30 years. It's a choice that we've made to do those things, so therefore it's kind of part of our identity, right? But yet what you're suggesting is that we don't fixate on that as being us. It's separate from the person, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So
So
hard to do.
that's a good point, in that you say that, like, everything can, if you're not careful, shape that version of your identity. And I'm reading a book right now that did a really good job of explaining trauma. And so it talked about, this was really cool, and it had a visual that made a lot of sense. When your senses take in an experience, so you see something, you hear something, you feel something, you experience it with your senses, it's then processed by a part of your brain called the thalamus. The thalamus then sends the signal simultaneously to, and this is where you ever heard the saying, take the high road, or the person take the low road or took the high road? I believe that this is actually where this originated from. So a scientist named it the high road and the low road. Simultaneously, the thalamus processes what your senses just experienced, and then it sends the signal to the low road is to your amygdala. Your amygdala is an ancient part of your brain, and basically almost at like the top of your neck.
Like your vagus
And
nerve kind of area.
that's subconscious, completely subconscious. It's the ancient part of your brain. And then simultaneously, that signal gets sent to your frontal lobe, which is your conscious mind. You're able to make decisions. It's what separates humans from everybody else, right? Is that you have that the newly developed part of your brain, which is the frontal lobe. The problem is the low road, that signal gets there a couple milliseconds or fractions of a millisecond quicker. So that means that everything that you experience through your senses is first setting an alarm. Your amygdala is setting the alarm first before your conscious mind can even recognize or decipher what it was. A good example would be like when you smell something burning, you automatically have the same reaction as if your house was on fire or it was just somebody lit the stovetop. But it's not until your frontal lobe can look around and assess what is the flame, and am I actually in danger here? So what that does is people don't spend enough time actually using their frontal lobe to be able to assess, am I actually in danger here? Is this something I should be, putting my attention on? Is this something that I actually have to worry about? Is this something that I need to identify with? But instead, their lives are being ruled by their subconscious mind, and they're just stuck in these triggered of responses. And so they spend their whole lives in fight or flight.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that fully, and I think it, like, to simplify it, because there's a lot of I'll be honest, a lot of what you say is kind of goes over my head. It goes over my head because I'm not yet at that stage of knowledge where I can understand these things on your level, and that's just me being honest. But I think what I've realized is, and I think it kind of goes in line with exactly what you just said, I have a choice, right? We always have a choice. And I think in every situation we find ourselves in, when that fight or flight kicks in, we always have a choice. And even in my most darkest moments, in moments of anxiety or depression, I have a choice. And that can so easily get forgotten because of that lack of understanding or lack of awareness in the fact that actually right now, in this moment, however I'm feeling, I can choose to act X or Y, right? And those choices have an effect. Does that make sense?
Yep. And a good little tip with that is you just take a deep breath to create space between whatever just happened to you or whatever you're experiencing. Just take a deep breath, and that's enough time for that signal and then get to your frontal lobe to process what's going on. And then you can consciously make the decision to just do something different than what you normally would. React in a different way, say something differently, think a different response instead of just getting stuck in that cycle that you were before. Yeah, and I guess all that kind of ties back into the identity conversation, is that a large majority of people spend their entire lives thinking the same thoughts, doing the same actions, then having the same memories of those same actions, which then produces the same thoughts and the same they're just stuck in that same exact cycle.
The danger
so
of that as well is the fact they expect a different result, right? So they think those same things but expect
but they subconsciously, they don't really,
right.
They might talk and gossip and say that they want this to change and do this, but deep down they really don't. They really want to just live right there where they're at because it feels like home. That's their identity. It's safe, even though it might be definitely not safe and not good for you most of the time. And they're just in it. And the more they practice that behavior, the more that they basically build up those walls around their identity. And that becomes who they are. But the second you start creating space, taking a breath, and just reacting and doing something different than you would when these opportunities arise, you get to where I'm at now, which is where like, who is AJ Cat? I don't know. I mean, I'm different every single second of every day. Like I almost to the point where I think my team thinks I'm crazy half the time because I'll just like, yeah, I can't make a decision. Like I can make a decision, but I do it on a whim because it's just like, I don't want to procrastinate, but at the same time, you can convince me a million different ways because I'm open-minded. So it's like, yep, do that. And then the next day it's like, nope, don't do that. Do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, cutting back to the question, I guess it comes, those choices that where we find ourselves in, I guess then when we look at the Carmichael situation, for example, and going back to the question, obviously, is when do you feel a good time to kind of stop is, there never is a good time, right? Because I think if you're open-minded, then you can make whatever work. And I think it's obviously a personal preference thing and it's subjective in making those choices for retirement at whatever age you feel, but also life will throw in curveballs, right? It'll throw in things that shift your narrative and it shift the way you think. And I guess if a pro rider is riding at a certain level and then something in his life happens, then he's going to retire for that reason or another reason, and I think it's a tricky question to answer really, because I think it's subjective, right? It's not objective, it's subjective, and it's each person's personal choice, not their identity, but their personal choice. Because like we've just said, we all have a choice in every situation. Make a choice.
Yeah, and I would urge somebody like a Hurlings or somebody that's 28, 30, 32 years old, kind of getting a little closer to the end of their career, start thinking of your life like you design your life. Every second of it, you get to design it. So what do you want to be doing? How do you want to be spending your time? Do you want to spend it all with your family? Do it. Do you want to spend it all riding your dirt bike? Do it. Do you want to spend it all racing your dirt bike? Do it. But yeah, I think it's easy to just do the thing you've always done because it's all you know, which is racing a dirt bike at a high level. And it's scary to think that there are other options out there and other things that you can be doing, but there is a whole world and then some to explore. So if you start thinking of, okay, I can just design my life however I want, especially if you're somebody like a Hurlings that has plenty of money to do so, right? Because usually the finances is the first excuse that somebody would kind of lean on of like, oh, well, I don't have the financial freedom to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, I think then it's just a matter of being open-minded and getting creative. Like, what do I want to do? Yeah.
Interesting. Definitely
Well,
interesting.
guys, we're an hour and 45 minutes in. So we've done it. We've done it well, and we've overshot it. So Ethan, what I would say is if we have coaching wanted, if we have some other stuff, save them for the next podcast next week. And we'll hit them next week. Is that cool with you guys, ending it at an hour 45?
Yeah, I could talk for 3 days. You know me.
Yeah, for Ethan's editing's sake, for my memory card, for all of it, hour 45 I'd say is good. Guys, let us know in the comments. Do you like the myself, Al, Ethan, Dave quad? What do we think of it? I felt like that flowed pretty nicely. We didn't talk over each other almost at all. That was pretty good, and I think we'll only get better at it.
Dave's my favorite.
I agree. And hey, if you want to base it off the numbers, we're
Al, you're my favorite,
pretty
buddy.
good compared to last week's episode. So I think we're in a good spot, guys.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Ethan?
Said if we want to base it off numbers, if we look at what we're at from last episode, we're on the up. So I think people are gonna love this. I think it's gonna be great.
So did our last one do pretty well as well?
Yeah. So the
We're on the
30-day
up and up
stat. Yeah, we're at 86 for the last 30 days, which is nice. So we're trending back upwards again, which is real cool. So it'd be nice to get closer to that 5-figure mark here in the next couple of weeks.
I hope I don't ruin it.
No, dude, come on.
Yeah,
You've ruined it.
100%.
You've ruined it.
100%.
Blimey.
Blimey, mate.
He's ruined it. All right, episode 155. Absolutely blimey. We've done it. Okay, guys. Toodles.